What would you
Yes.
say to the beauty professional that is listening right now and that would like to work on celebrities or pursue editorial work? What is some advice that you?
Hey, Beauty Pros, and welcome back to my channel, The Beauty Pro Diaries. Hi, I'm Rain, and I created this space to inspire beauty professionals and enthusiasts to build their dream beauty business. If you are new here and new to me, welcome. In today's episode, I will be doing a recap from my online series that I hosted on Instagram called Manicurist Monday, where I interviewed beauty professionals, particularly manicurists, from all over the world to share their story about how they started in the beauty industry. Not only how they started, but how they've been able to sustain and create a successful career that aligns with their vision and their goals. Season 1 was for manicurists only. Season 2, I opened up the floor to other beauty professionals such as barbers, hairstylists, and more. So, welcome to the recap of episode 2 from season 1. Enjoy. Maisie Dunbar, the founder of the internationally recognized global award winning beauty brand, a TEDx speaker, and United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. Maisie Dunbar is based out of Maryland, USA, is one of the most sought after celebrity beauty genius in the world. She holds almost 3 decades of experience in the dynamic beauty industry as a master nail skincare therapist, cosmetics brand creator, professional beauty consultant, educator. Her years of experience have secured her as a renowned beauty change agent in her relentless practices and value for working with excellence. Maisie Dunbar has become a trailblazer and an inspiration to women around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please hold while I bring Maisie Dunbar onto the screen.
Please go ahead and follow her right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the screen the Maisie Dunbar.
Hey, hey. Much
Yay!
love to you, girl. Much love. My pancake,
Welcome.
pancake.
I could not have this conversation, Women's History Month, Manicurist Mondays, without bringing someone like you on to speak about just the changes that you've seen in the industry, but more importantly, the contributions that you've made to the. Before I get into my questions to Maisie, I just want to share a little bit of insight with those of you that are watching how I became introduced to her. I was going to premiere Orlando every year, and I took her class. She was hosting a class that was called How to Make Six Figures as a Manicurist. And
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, that is when the blinders came off of me because, you know, at the time, just not having access to enough information, you think that you're only limited to working a certain way. And when I sat in that class, she really broke down how to take things to the next level. So today we want to talk about what that looks like for those of you that would like to level up your game and see yourself as a six-figure beauty professional. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Maisie Dunbar.
Hey, great introduction. The fact that I'm an author, and my last copy of my book, I gave it to a young lady that I felt really needed it. It was actually my copy, and I was like, oh, she really needs this, so I gave it to her. So I have to reprint my book. It's called Faith, Fun, and Finance, which talks about our industry, and we how much we really need it, because some days you need everything. Faith, you need fun and finance to make it through the next day. So
I
yeah,
love that. So faith, fun, and finance.
yeah.
So where can this be found online on a link
Yes,
on your bio?
it can be found on my website, and you can definitely order on the website or either bluffpatrol.com or how to premiere. For those of you who are planning on going to premiere in June, we will see you there.
This is it's a game changer because what it
Yes.
does is it makes you realize how you're not alone on this journey and that there's other people who have experienced what you have gone through, but we work in such isolated work sections, that sometimes we feel like we're going at this alone. And so I wanted to extend the feeling that Premiere gives us by having these lives and bringing people like yourself on, because it doesn't have to be a lonely journey if you connect with the right people. I want to set the foundation for those that are watching who are up and coming in the beauty industry. I want you to take us back to when you first started in the beauty industry. Did you think that you would pursue editorial work, that you would create your own product line? Explain to us, what were your thoughts when you first came into the industry? Were you saying, I just want to get my license and work in a nail salon? And, kind of paint that picture for us, what that looked like when you first got into the industry.
You sure you want me to paint that picture, girl? I'll paint that picture. You may have people quit the industry. No, I'm just teasing. We came into the industry after being laid off my job as a systems analyst. So I worked for British Telecom for about 9 years. And my co-worker actually found the school. And she told me, she was like, Maisie, your nails always look nice. You should go to nail school and get your license. So when I fast forward, when I got laid off, I went to get my license just to perfect my own manicures. I did not go to nail. I couldn't possibly, if I told you I went to nail school and dreamed about being this nail professional, beauty professional that I've become, I'll be lying. So I went to learn how to do my own nails, but I also, I'm originally from Liberia, West Africa. I grew up on the beach. So I also wanted to go back home when I got into nail school, to go back home and open a resort. So, that's a whole different conversation. So that's what I thought about as I was going through school. But once I got out of school, I realized that I really sucked at a lot of things. Like, I sucked, guys. I sucked. The only thing I was great at was manicuring and pedicuring. So I started to reach out to some manicurists in DC, in the DC area, asking them if I could watch them work, and they all told me no. So I was like, okay, how am I gonna learn how to do this thing? So I started going to trade shows, and back then IBS was a really great show to go to. And I met another nail tech. Her and I went to a Tammy Taylor class. And I'll never forget that. Tammy Taylor did a full set of nails, a full set of sculpted nails, girl, in 8 minutes. And back, yes, live in 8 minutes. And she's 8 minutes. Okay, if the nails broke off after they left, I don't know. What I do know is that it inspired me to I gotta learn how to do acrylics. And of course, there was before social media, so we bought everything they had there to buy. So went to practice, and fast forward, I got into it. I just started to grow a passion for it, and fast forward, here I am. I started to read about celebrity manicuring, and I knew within my gut that I wanted to be the best. I knew that I wanted to be a superstar in the beauty industry. I just knew that. I felt it in my spirit. So you
started out just wanting to make sure your manicures look good. And then you fell in love with the idea of, hey, if I'm going to do this, why not be the best at it? And how can I level up like that? Yeah. And when I think about, because when I came into the industry, it was like 2004, and there was very limited access. So when you came into the industry, I can only imagine how limited, it was to get access to that. So to be able to propel past those things and create in a time where technology wasn't where it is now is like, it's amazing. It's amazing. And I can imagine like how scary that may have been, but you pushed through.
Very scary, because I was a single mom with a young child. My son at the time, was very young. I think Bush was like maybe 4 or something like that. So my son was young. So feeding yourself, you can eat bread and butter and you're good, but how do you feed your child? And I came from making a really good amount of money to coming into the nail industry, where my family, especially being from Africa, you're Haitian descent, so people from Africa and the Caribbean, they don't look at this career path as a career path. They look at it as, oh, you're just a loser, it's something you want to do. So that's how my dad looked at it until he saw my first interview on BET.
So tell us a little bit about your first interview on BET, how that happened.
Want your listeners, your followers, people that are within this community, to really understand that, it didn't happen overnight. It happened with a lot of consistency. And for me, getting into editorial work, again, talking about being the work all the time, and I know there are times when you're in the salon. I was the only manicurist, always the only manicurist. So I had to pay to get continuing education. I didn't have anybody to learn from. So a lot of the DC stylists knew my commitment level when it came to my work. So there was a stylist in DC. He referred one of his clients to me. So prior to me meeting this editor, I've always looked in fashion magazines. I will always see people like Meredith McCormick. And Meredith and I are still, like, Meredith's like my sister, It's Meredith McCormick, Bernadette. That's who it was. Bernadette Thompson. And what's the other manicurist? The Caucasian girl. I think I told you her name the other day. Deborah Lipman. It was Deborah Lipman, Meredith McCormick, and Bernadette Thompson. So with those ladies, when I started to read about them and I would look at the ads, I was like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do. But I never knew how to get there. So one night, fast forward, I had to give you the back end before I give you the forward end. One night, there was a lady that came in to get her nails. I was literally walking out of the salon. And the salon phone rang, and the girl said, Maisie, is Bruno. He has a client that's coming. She wants to get her nails done. Will you stay? I was like, girl, yeah. I was building my clientele. So, first one there, last one to leave. Everyone knew that about me. So when she came in, she happened to be, at the time, she was the beauty editor for Essence. Before Essence became a Liberian-owned brand, she was the beauty editor for Essence. And we already know every Black woman, it's like Essence was our Vogue magazine.
Yes.
So being from, so being from Africa, and I'm like doing the beauty editor for Essence, I'm like, yes, let's do this, So when I finished, the next week, she called the salon. She's like, that was the best manicure I've ever had. We would like to bring you in for an interview. Girl, that's what I was like, wow. I was like, what? No, Maisie. So I get to New York. You know what they say, you always have to ask, right? So after my interview with Essence, I asked the editor, I said, I look at magazines, I see someone's doing these manicures. Who does the manicure? So they referred me to my agent, who has been my agent for almost 30 years, Ken Barbosa and Associates. That's who was representing me. Yeah, so when I first went to Ken, Meredith was once with Ken as well. He told me what I needed to do. Before digital camera, you literally had to have a photo shoot. He denied me 14 times, guys.
14 times?
Yes.
1 4.
1 4.
Keep applying.
I kept going to New York. He was like, you're getting there. But what that did for me is it trained my eyes for detail. So this is why even back then, and I get it now, because if he sent me on a shoot, I was representing his brand and I was representing myself. Right. So he wanted to make sure my skill set was up to par. So from lighting to the way my nails looked and all of that. So by the time I got an opportunity to get a job with C&D, I had already gone through Ken Barbosa boot camp. So I was ready for jam. Professionals that may want to give up, don't give up. Don't. And the thing about it is, I'm like, I must have been crazy as hell going to New York. You get on the train, you get there, and they deny your work. You're like, I will walk out of there. Okay, I'm gonna go back to DC. I'm gonna do another shoot. That's how I was.
And I'm so glad you had, the resilience, the persistence, and tough skin to say, this doesn't mean that I can't get the job done. It just means I need to pay more attention to detail. So that made you
Yeah,
step your game up, and it
it
made you
does.
look at how you can, you're going to tell me yes. I don't care how long it takes, but you're going to tell me yes one day.
Tiny. Because
Mm-hmm.
even for him to represent me, my work still, the last day when I got into Kent's office, I said, today, if this man tells me no, me and him gonna fight. We're fighting in there. So I had made up my mind that I was gonna fight Ken
You
verbally.
was gonna fight.
So I was like, because I was done. I was like done. But you know what? It's amazing. The Bible says life and death lies in the power of the tongue. But it depends on what that message is that's coming out of your mouth. So
Mm.
when I got there, he was like, he was like, you're there, Maisie, just one more. I'm like, Ken, I can't do this. I'm not. So while I was in his
Mm.
office trying to convince him to represent me, that I know you're saying my work is not there yet, but I think you need to let me prove that I'm good. He gets a call for a photo shoot the next day. He puts the person on hold and he goes, can you do the shoot tomorrow? I said, I'm going to show you that I'm good. So I did. I stayed in New York, and thank God I'm a foreigner. We got family all over the place. I stayed
Right?
in New York. I stayed with my aunt, and I went to got all my products. Went to reread, and then I called PR companies to send me stuff. I used those products, and the magazine that I shot for liked my work so much. They used me for every cover for the last for like 9 months straight. So it allowed me to create a body of work. Then I started to get different jobs with like CoverGirl. I did an ad campaign for them. Then I did an ad campaign for Sporonux. Then I started doing ad campaigns for like Tiffany's and cigar companies. I was like, yes. So that's how I actually got represented by Ken. He never really approved my work. I had to prove to him that he was about to make a mistake. That's right, KBA.
You hear this. This is a very profound story here on resilience and what it takes. And you have to be willing to reevaluate yourself and your work and say, I deserve this. And I'm not stopping until she was willing to fight this man in his office. And she made up in her mind that she had built the reputation and the repertoire, and she was willing to do the work. And like you said, the timing, the dedication, the work lined up at the right time. And 9 months, they loved your work so much that you were doing the cover for 9 months. That is
Yeah.
mind blowing. Do you understand how
Yeah.
like amazing that is? Do you sit back and relish on that story?
Sometimes I do, because for the longest time, like now you see some of my plaques behind me. I literally had trashed them all. And my neighbor took them out of the trash and gave them back to me. So I had traveled, I think I went to Atlanta for work, came back, and I was like, why is my recycle bin still full of my stuff? So she was like, girl, you're gonna need this. So put this back. So when now that I pivoted my business, and when those days happen, I look around me and just know that I have had an amazing career. And a lot of it came from not only God, it came from Ken, it came from me, because I had to show up first. Called him to tell him that I no longer wanted to, do celebrities and all of that. I wanted to focus on my cosmetic brands. And he was like, Maisie, I'm really going to miss you, because oftentimes when you were on set, I felt really good at the office. So that meant a lot to me. It meant a whole lot to me, you know. And those people who say they can't get to work on time, y'all can get to work on time. If I could go from DC to New York and be on time for a job, y'all can do that too.
What would you
Yes.
say to the beauty professional that is listening right now and that would like to work on celebrities or pursue editorial work? What is some advice that you can share?
One, I would tell them that if you know your call time and don't go late. Never be late. Never be late. Always be on time. Is like being like 30 minutes ahead of time. Because if you're 30 minutes ahead of time, you can set up all your things that you need for your job. So once you start, because often, and be flexible, because oftentimes if you're working, whether it's a ad campaign or whether it's an editorial high fashion, you may be working on that model with 3 or 4 other people working on that model. So if you're a diva that feel like I can only sit at a table and work, you better don't even try it, because it's not going to work, honey. No, it's not. It's nothing diva-fied about that job. No. You better have your nail bag, belt with all your tools in it, be standing up, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to stand and work with the hairstylist and the makeup artist. They're not sitting at a nail station, so get it straight. Make sure you have everything that you need. If you're rep by an agent, your agents don't know what people have on their nails. Your agent is going to say, the entire time I was with Ken never once told me, oh, this person have acrylics. He was amazing. We're booking you for a manicure. So yeah, and I would just be like, when I first got my first gig other than the magazine, he was like, you're available for a manicure. I was prepared to do a manicure. I think it was maybe my 3rd or 4th shoot. And the person had acrylics. I literally had to go to Dwayne Reed, buy the acrylics, and apply the acrylics with the orange wood stick.
Wait. You applied acrylic with an orange wood stick?
Yep.
How is that even possible?
It's possible, girl. I can do that for you. I'm going to do it for you one day on set. Yeah.
Please.
Yes.
Wow.
It's possible. It's possible if you understand your mixed ratio. That's the fact.
This is true.
If you know that mixed ratio, it is possible. So to be a manicurist on set, if your audience is somebody that's looking to do that, know your product. Know that you're going to get on set. You may think you're doing gels, but it may tell you to do acrylic. You may think and it may tell you, I want the acrylics to look as natural as possible. Keep in mind, the way you do nails every day in the salon, the way you do nails every day for social media is not the way an editorial nail is going to look like. You have to be very flexible, extremely flexible. And lastly, you have to be very respectful of not only yourself, but everyone else around you. And if you feel that you've walked into a disrespectful environment, I know today is very different from back when I was doing, celebrities and editorial work. But if you find that the environment is very toxic and is very different, all you have to do is just know that by the end of the day, you don't have to see these people ever again if you don't want to, and just make it to the end and leave. Simple. Leave a job until the editor tells you to leave. Don't think that, I'm done with the manicure, so I'm done. No, they may need you to change polish. They may need you later on, because they have their mood board. They have the mood boards, but things change when you're on set. They may even send you a mood board. It's when you get on set, things change. So if you in your mind think it's going to be like this, when you get on set, it may not even be like that. There are times that I've worked on set. When I worked with Guns N' Roses, I was supposed to only be there for 8 hours. I was there for 13 hours. Flexibility is what it's going to take. You got to be more flexible than a rubber band. So for me, I was very passionate about my job. So really the hours didn't really matter to me. As long as I was in an environment that I was doing what I love to do, I thrive off of that. So yeah. So those are key things that I think people need to keep in mind to go if they want to go into that
editorial
that genre of work. Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a recap. So if you're interested in editorial work or working with a celebrity clientele on sets, you need to be on time. That is the very, very first and most important. And on time means 30 minutes earlier than the call time. So you want to familiarize yourself with the call sheet and the schedule that is provided to you. Be flexible because you might have been hired to do acrylics, but or a manicure, and you find out that you have to use an orange wood stick, which is
Oh
mind
yeah.
blowing. Which is
So
mind blowing to me.
so like
And we're gonna get into that. I'm gonna have to test this out and see. Just because you're talking about it, I want to see if I can lay acrylic with an orange
mm,
wood stick. That's gonna
yeah.
be interesting. I'll let
You'd
you
be
know how that
surprised
goes.
what you can do when you'll be surprised what you can do when your life depends on it.
You're like, I gotta make this happen. And as artists, we're so adamant about getting the job done that we're like, whatever it takes to make it look good, we need to make that happen. And I love that you shared that because you're really setting the tone on what make it happen really means. And literally, for those of you that are watching who are not familiar with laying acrylic, typically you lay acrylic with an acrylic brush. So to do it with an orange wood stick that is designed to push your cuticles back is mind
The
blowing to
only
me.
other choice I had was to say, can I go get? And that was not possible. That probably would have been my last time working with that company. So I'm just like, yes, it
Yeah,
may have been, it may not have been. And my thing for me was every time I was on set, I'm representing Ken and I'm representing me. I'm representing Ken
absolutely.
and I'm representing
It
me.
was probably that added pressure too, knowing, what it took for you to even get that door open for yourself, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
not least, is be respectful. Um, don't leave without the editor, letting you know that, hey, this is the end and it's okay to leave because there's a possibility they want a change in, the polish or something of that sort. So be on time, be flexible, and be respectful. I think that's pretty simple, and it really hones in on working in those environments. Um, so thank you so much for speaking on those that might be interested in doing editorial
Identity
work.
to that because of this environment that we in. Everybody's always on their phones. If you're on set and the editors say that this cannot be posted until, you have to be respectful of that if you're really trying to work in this space, because you would never get another job again. Don't be on your phones all the time, whether you think you're taking pictures of your work or not. No, don't do that.
Mm.
Don't do that. So just make sure you keep those things in mind as you move on with your career.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because, every the day and age that we're in now, everything's about capturing the moment. Everything's
Yeah.
about, sharing this and sharing that. And
Yeah.
you have to use discretion. So I'm very
Yeah.
happy that you shared that because a lot of times you might be working on this project now, but it's not coming out right away. And they don't want that information disclosed. And you
Yeah.
can probably find yourself in some trouble depending upon how big the project is, right?
Exactly.
So I want
Yeah.
to delve a little bit more into specialized. Can you share a little bit more about? So you worked with acrylics as well. Like when you got into the industry, tell us what products and what services did you work with, and what were your favorite? Do you like acrylics more? Do you like manicures more? Give us a little bit of insight of the different specialties that you've had a chance to work in the industry, and which one do you like the best?
I think I'm just a natural girl all the way around,
Hmm.
honestly. And maybe because of the fact that when I went to nail school, I went to nail school to learn how to do my own nails. And maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe now that you asked the question, I started to think subconsciously. Maybe that's what it is. And one of the things that we mastered in my salon, we mastered natural nails, because your natural nails is your foundation. Even if you're gonna
Mhm.
put acrylic on it, even if you're going to put hard gel on it or dipping powder, that natural nail is your foundation. If you cannot secure that foundation, your work, your structure is going to be off. And what
Mhm.
also helped me master liquid and powder was working for C&D. Creative Nail Design, which is now C&D. You know, that was mastering that. The products, you asked me the products that I use. When I first started, when we went to that Tammy Taylor class, I bought Tammy Taylor. Everything that she used to do that full set in 8 minutes, and she talked about how much she was charging. I started to calculate. I was like, oh, I can make a lot of money. But little did I know, I didn't have her skill set. So I started to take classes. I went to the trade show, and what I would do at trade shows, and I would encourage the nail professionals that are here, go to your trade shows with your nails being bare, most especially the ones that are in salons by themselves, and get your nails done to every booth that you think you want to use their products. And whatever stands out to you, that's the product company you go with. So I did that. I knew that Tammy Taylor was too strong for me, and I was looking for something else. I couldn't, back then, Creative Nail Design was the only company that was doing education. Back then, you couldn't find education with no other nail company. So I started to take their classes with Cosmopro, which now is Cosmopro, but it's called, back then it was called Davidson's Beauty Supply. And I went to IBS, and the only nail that stuck out to me was my nail that I had gotten at the Creative Nail Design booth. At the end of the show, I went back and purchased everything they had, and I started going to every class that they provided. I became a master. Fast forward, you know, I was raw into the industry. I started judging competitions, and once we were in Atlanta, Jen and I was on stage together, and she knew I was a celebrity manicurist. So she kept saying, you should come work for us. You should come work for us. At that time, I was working for Sash Beats, the company that everybody wants to call Sash AV. Yes, I was working for Sash Beat as one of their educators. I was the Northeast Regional Director. So I was like, I love my boss. I'm a very committed person. So the moment my boss quit was when I went to boot camp to become an educator for C&D. And it just took my liquid and powder skill set, practicing, taking those classes, putting the time in, just took it to a whole different level, you know. And so my liquid and powder is just as natural looking as my natural nails. So in my salon, we specialize. It was our specialty. We specialize in nails and manicures. So even people that had acrylics, we took acrylics off their nails, and we had this system called the nail cultivating system. Way before Jessica had her cultivating thing, we had my way of cultivating the nails, and we cultivated all of our acrylic clients to just regular manicure. So we started educating our clients on how they could take care of their hands and their feet. So that made us, throughout the year, our pedicures were over 80% of our business.
For gel polish.
Way before gel polish. Our manicures lasted 2 weeks. People knew us. Yes, people knew if you went to Maisie Dunbar Spa Lounge to get your nails done, or M&M Nails back then was M&M Nails. People knew that their nails would last, that manicures would last. We had maybe over the lifespan of my salon, I had maybe 20% of my clients wore acrylics. That's it. The rest of it was natural nails. Yeah, when I started, I would say maybe 100% of my clients either had some form of either acrylics or wraps or gels, and we literally cultivated everyone to manicure. So people cannot tell me you can't make a lot of money just doing manicures. It's a lie. It's a lie, y'all.
There's a couple of things that I want to recap on that Maisie has shared here. You have to invest in your craft and continuing education, and taking the courses is one thing, but practicing your craft is another thing as well in order to do those things. So don't get sidetracked on the trends that you see online. Don't get sidetracked and feel like, hey, I have to do this and I have to do that. Figure out what works for you and master that particular thing. And once you master that, you can really, she restructured that in a time when gel polish wasn't a thing. And I can only share from my own experience. I was one of those manicurists who prior to taking educational classes, I didn't think that you can, if you didn't do acrylics, I didn't think that you could be profitable. I'm going to be honest. That was a thought process for me. And it wasn't until I started educating myself and taking additional classes that I realized you're limiting yourself when you don't expose yourself to the different products and the different techniques that are out there. And you don't have to offer just one particular service.
Think about it. If the average rebalance is about, maybe now, I don't know what people are charging, but I know what I charge for a rebalance. But let's on the low side. Let's say the low side, right? The low side, the average rebalance, let's say is $30, right? It may take a nail professional without polish about 45 minutes to an hour if she's doing a great job. If she's using a electric file, a hand tool, and doing a great job with it and not compromising, let's give them 45 minutes, right? So they're paying $30 for 45 minutes. Whereas a natural nail manicure, the average price of a natural nail manicure is about $45 to $50. It takes the average a natural nail manicurist, it may take her 20 to 30 minutes tops. So when you average it out, you make more money doing natural nails. And that's not even retailing. That's not even gel polish. That's just polish. So if it's gel polish and you master that time and you're charging $65 and you can do a gel polish in 30 minutes or $65, you're really making some money.
And there was a period for me, I didn't, I was in a college town and all I did was acrylics, nail art. And I don't want to say I didn't know how to do manicures, but I low key forgot how to do manicures because my clientele only wanted acrylics. And it wasn't until I went into a day spa that I realized, wow, like you said, the average manicure is 20 to 30 minutes. And it allowed me to see more clients. And it really taught me the art of upselling and adding on other services in order to allow those ticket items to go up. One of the questions that I did get in my inbox from an aspiring manicurist was she's struggling with her acrylic to, her monomer and powder ratio. And so she was talking about how do you not get discouraged when you're still trying to master your ratio and you're working with clients. Any advice that you would like to share with her as she's continuing to practice and master her skill?
So one advice I would have is just be honest with yourself and be honest with your client. When I started my business, I used to pull people off bus stops and I had a script. First client that I had with acrylics, I had pulled her off a bus stop and she literally called the salon. She was looking back then. She was very intentional about going to a Black person to do her nails. So when I came back at the time I was at a barbershop and they were like, oh, Maisie, someone wants to get her nails done tomorrow. So back then, people were writing in the appointment books. So I looked and it said full set. So I was like, she want a full set of what? So one of the barbers, he was like, you're the one walking around here giving people these scripts. I was like, acrylic nails? They were like, yeah. I said, what am I going to do with that? So when the lady, I lied to you not, I promise, came in, right? Girl, I was stressing myself the whole day. I was like, I'm going to talk this woman into a manicure. Lady came in, she's like, I want these nails off. I really want acrylic. So at one point, I was just honest with her. I said, ma'am, I just got out of school. I said, I know I got my license, but I can barely do a good manicure. I said, but if you got some time and you can be here with me, we may be here all night, but I can do your nails. And we were there all night. At the end, I said to her, you don't have to pay me. I should pay you for sitting here with me. She was like, everybody have to have a start. And I promise you, that lady was my client until the day she died. The day she died, she came to the salon that night out of the clear blue. She said, Maisie, I want to take these nails off and I want a full set of pink and white. Back then, we used to call Forever French pink and white, and although that was the verbiage going on. So I said, great, I'll give you a full set of Forever French. She went down to North Carolina, had a green aneurysm, and died on me. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with your clients. Tell your clients if you don't know how to do something, ask them to work with you and work it, girl. Work it to the best way you know how. It may take you 16 hours to do one hand. And tell her, come back tomorrow, we'll do the other hand. But do.
At the end of the day, when you're building your craft and your skill, you need someone to be patient with you. And there's nothing like that energy when someone's in a rush and you haven't mastered your skill yet. It gives you anxiety, and it's like, spare yourself.
I'll just tell them to go. I feel like
I'm not coming to the industry. You're kind of afraid. You don't know what to say. You don't know how people are going to respond to you. So I love the concept of being honest.
Yeah, be honest. Be honest. Be honest with what you're good at. And the things that you're not good at, tell your clients that I'm working on it. If you don't mind working with me. And of course, you want to give that person I would give that person a discount because you're practicing on these people. You're practicing. When I got in the salon and I was the only manicurist in a hair salon, I decided I was in a hair salon with 14 Black hairstylists and they all had a full book. And my behind ain't had no clientele. I said, I got a strategy for these people. I told them, I said, because every time I will offer them a manicure, they'll say, I'll get it done when I get my hair done. And they will slip out the door. Like, you slip out that door one time, baby. I got you next time. I started to shampoo hair. And when I was shampooing, and I knew I picked out the good clients. Okay, Miss So-and-so. All right, good. And I would make a deal with the hairstylist. When she come and let me shampoo her hair. While shampooing her hair, they got to experience my touch. So those of you that are in a hair salon, they got to experience my touch. They got to connect with me. And that's how I build my clients out. Like, you know how sometimes people refer a business to you or you refer a business to someone and they never call you to say thank you? Come on, y'all. If somebody refer a business to you, pick up that daggone phone and tell somebody thank you. Don't be texting them.
Go into that because that's a form of marketing, and when someone has referred business to you, you want to show that appreciation, and you also want to encourage them to keep sending business to you, especially if they send a client to you that's a good client. You're like, hey, this person has access to my ideal client. Why would I not reach out to this person and express the gratitude in them sharing my contact information with that person? People think in this industry it's a one size fits all. You have to figure out what works for you and create your own style of building your own clientele, but also finding your ideal client.
The industry that we're in, it is a big pie. And you can decide on what piece of this pie you want to eat. So I knew that I wanted to be in this space until I die. But I also know that I get bored easily. So I knew I had to do something with this beauty space outside of the salon life. So working on set, I'm doing nails, I'm doing whatever, but I'm still in the beauty space. Educating for CND, same thing. Then I start to educate for myself because for me, I never want to leave someone the way I met them. So when I work for CND, I'm like, I'm going to be the best daggone educator they got. When I leave these mofos, they'll know what I brought to the table. They're going to understand my value. Know your value and bring that value to the table. So that's what I did with every single company that I worked for.
So someone shared in the comment section, this person is not in the beauty industry, but they are a client of the industry. The question is, as a client, how do you not get caught up in trend services?
As a client, that's a very good question. As a client, how do you not get caught up in trend services? Well, first of all, trends go in and out, styles don't. So as a client, if you're a trendy client, there's nothing wrong with that if you get caught up in the trendy services. As long as that person that you're having serve you is not damaging your nail. So there's nothing wrong with the trends, as long as the trends are not compromising the foundation. That's important. You can be trendy, but create your own style within that trend. So when people see your nails, you know, because we see people nails before anything else. People see your nails, like, oh, that's different, you know. So you
Mm-hmm.
want to be, you can be trendy, but also set the stage also in your community for your trends, you know. No.
So nail art, can you kind of talk about nail art for, obviously we're in the age of, technology, Instagram, we see all this beautiful nail art to the manicurist who's just starting and is intimidated because she can't get her striping down yet and she feels like she can't build a clientele. What do you say to that manicurist who just thinks that nail art is the only way to build, a clientele that is profitable. And any suggestions and advice that you can share with this up and coming manicurist.
If you're up and coming nail tech, just coming into the industry and your focus is nail art, I would highly recommend investing in some really good nail art brushes. One, to get some basics, some basic designs done, like dragging of polish, marbleizing, using your striper, using your detailer to make a C and a S. You can making a C and an S can create so many different designs because you can have an open C and a closed C. Once you close that C, it becomes a leaf. So you know, practicing with just basic art. Get a striper. If you can't afford a detailer and all you want is a striper, get a good striper. Girl, just give everybody one line, one line, one line. And practice that other line. Make an X and make that X. And in the middle of that X, paint a different color. Art is what it is, you know. Just
Mm-hmm.
focus on some very basic art and build on it from that. If you find that when you get on social media and you see everybody's doing all this art and it's making you feel like you're nobody, cut it off. Just shut it off.
Mm-hmm.
Change your mindset and go back and practice. But get some decals for real though. Get some decals for those things that you don't know how to do. Get some
There are
decals.
clients who are not accustomed to wearing nail art. So you can also perhaps find clients who aren't, like as advanced in knowing all the nail art that's out there and you're introducing them to nail art. So typically when you're introducing a client to nail art, you can start pretty basic with them, right? You don't have to,
Yeah,
they don't have this expectation of you,
yeah,
creating this huge like photos like there's some amazing stuff out there that artists are creating, but if you find someone that is new to the nail art world, it really helps you kind of pace yourself before
yeah.
you start doing the extravagant stuff.
But even with the extravagant nail art, if you really pay close attention to it, it's just about the way they blend colors and how they separate these colors. And just get your core colors, you know, your primary colors and your secondary colors. Once you got those colors, you will be fine. It's amazing what black can do to like a palette. It's amazing what white can
Mm-hmm.
do to a palette. You know, do a little four dots with your little daisies. Just start very basic and let your clients work with you. And your clients, again, just be honest. Because as long as you're honest, you will be surprised how long and how far people will stay with you and and work with you. They'll be like, girl, you got
Absolutely.
this. You know, I know my little nail, I look a little crooked, but you got this. I see you next week.
Communication is very, very important. So, ladies and gentlemen who are just tuning in, Maisie Dunbar here has shared a wealth of knowledge on how to, interact with your clients, how to specialize, how to step your game. My introduction to you, Maisie, was at Premiere and you hosting the class, becoming a six-figure manicurist. Can you talk a little bit about, for the manicurist who thinks that, because oftentimes what you see is a nail tech who works part time because she doesn't think that she can make the income that in order to sustain her family. Can you speak to, the current manicurist, the aspiring manicurist who thinks that she has to keep a part time job? If you want to, by all means, But if you want to go in full throttle into the industry and you think you can't make six figures or make enough money to sustain your family, can you speak a little bit, drop some gems for us on what it takes to morph into a six-figure manicurist?
Girl, you trying to get me to do this in 3 minutes? I know you pushing the envelope. Six-figure nail professional. First and foremost, your timing. Time yourself. Time every step of your service. From manicuring, pedicuring, acrylic nails, gel gel powders, dipping powder. Time every step. From the time your clients go and wash their hands and have a seat, sanitizing, and then you're starting that process, time it. And then what you are going to do is you're going to try to eliminate your time wasted. A lot of time on cuticle care. Then you know that you need to up your retail to get them to use products that's going to help, so that they don't come back to you. You have to spend all this time on. You know that you're spending all your time on filing. Then you need to get into a class that teaches you how to file. I literally took a filing system class with Vicki Peters and Tom Holcomb in Las Vegas when I first got in the industry. Learn how to file. I do teach a filing class. So eliminate your time wasters. That's the first thing. And then you want to say to yourself, this is how much I want to make a year. This is how much I want to make a quarter. This is how much I want to make a week. This is how much I want to make a day. If I have 10 clients today, how can I get my 10 clients to buy more of what I'm offering? I need to make $5,000 today with these 10 clients. How am I going to do that? So you got to know what it is that you want. You got to know what it is that you need to do. And you have to have a roadmap of how you're going to get.
You heard it here first with the Maisie Dunbar, over 3 decades dedicated to the industry as an educator, as a platform artist, and man, even an artist.
The number one tip that I would recommend is don't be afraid to start small. You know, you don't have to go and open up this gigantic, big salon. Don't be afraid to start small. I know one of the great things that they have now are the studios. A lot of nail professionals are taking advantage of having the studio. But as you grow, get involved with your local school. Volunteer your time with the beauty cosmetology department. Get involved with these schools. Get one student at a time to come and be your assistant. And the thing about it is, once you grow this person as your assistant, it's easy to move that person from being an assistant, once they get their license, into taking your extra clients. Because if you're fully booked, how you gonna open up a salon? You can't open it. You're the only person working. What the heck? How you gonna pay? You know? So, but let it be known before you open that salon is that you can afford your rent by yourself in case everybody walks out. So if you have a walkout, you may have to work 24. Start small, network with your local schools, hire people that are in the cosmetology industry or nail industry that are still in school that can work as an apprentice or work as an assistant, and let them work under you. And don't be afraid to share with them. Don't think that this person, they're going to leave me once they learn everything. They're going to leave you anyway if they're going to leave you. But at least you know once they leave you, they're doing things right. I can honestly tell you, for the 27 years that I had my salon, I think I had people that left me. I never lost a client. We never lost a client. Back then, our basic pedicure, just our basic pedicure was $100. So imagine, you know, we never lost a client. Make that decision to start. Everything starts with one. So if you have one chair, it's okay. If you have one pedicure chair, it's okay. Allow that one pedicure chair to pay for another pedicure chair. Allow that one nail station to pay for another nail station. Bring in an assistant. So if you have an assistant and you have one station, while that assistant is maybe taking the polish off that client, you're finishing up that other client, the assistant can go and polish that client, and you can go and start your client. So just keep in mind, you don't have to start big. You can start small and
Small.
grow big. Because I started
Absolutely.
small and now I'm all over the world. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about how you start. It's just about how you finish.
That is the perfect ending. That is the perfect ending.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share.